This chord is also funky. You can't really name this chord because it's a combination of shapes. The top shape is again a triad, but the bottom shape is it's what I call a 1-6-9, 1-6 flat 9 more to be precise. It has a minor ninth in it, and also it has fourth and sixth. It's quite nice, but you can't really name this chord and say that this is on A minor or F major or F minor. It's quite impossible. So let's listen to it one more time. This is an extension of the idea that I discussed before, but think of voices. When we think of reharmonization, don't think about, move away from thinking melody and chord quality, but think of voices and how they want to behave. And that's why motion is really important. If you're taking classical theory, these are some of the most prominent motions. Oblique motion where one stays and the other one moves, or parallel where they go to the same direction, or contrary, they go to the opposite direction, or similar motion where they go to the same direction but in different intervals. So if you look at sample progression 1, oblique motion, so we have the top note is given, the bottom note is given as well as a chord quality. So how do we make an interesting progression out of this instead of going, it's not bad, but let's create some motions out of it. So if you look at sample progression 1, since this is descending in tonal gravity, meaning the C is the final destination and you're descending towards that C, right, through a circle of fifth motion. So since we're descending, why don't we put an ascending motion in it? So that's how the sample progression 1 harmonized works. The root is the same, right? It's always going to the C major. But one of the inner voices, namely the second top note in this case, is actually going up. Right? If we add the top note, we have now to me that sounds better than just playing the same third and seventh and just same voicings over and over. So let's listen to it one more time. This chord is also funky. You can't really name this chord because it's a combination of shapes. The top shape is again a triad, but the bottom shape is it's what I call a 1-6-9, 1-6 flat 9 more to be precise. It has a minor ninth in it, and also it has fourth and sixth. It's quite nice, but you can't really name this chord and say that this is on A minor or F major or F minor. It's quite impossible. So let's listen to it one more time. Oh, the D sharp isn't there. I just played it. One more time. Pay attention to the top voice. I mean the second top voice. So it has both the oblique motion, contrary motion, all different within the chord progression, which is really nice. Going to the sample progression 2, we have one more time. There's a contrary motion happening within the outer voices, right? But even in inner voices, there's a what I call voice split going on, where one voice splits into two, one half step up and one half step down. So if you look at the first voice, first chord, the C moves to B to make a G sharp minor 7, but now it splits to B flat and C, right? So this is a chord, I would call it E flat over E7. Again, we have if you're thinking of this in terms of an E7, we have the flat 7 and then sharp major 7 at the same time. So you can't really name this and name the chord, label it. In this chord, E flat 13 at 11, we have the semitone. And here we have a bitriadic voicing with the C sharp major on top of D major, acting like a dominant chord. And a resolution to D flat major. If you were to continue with this, if you look at sample progression 3, these are just random notes I got. This is how it sounds. It sounds like rubbish, like absolute. It makes no sense to me if we were to listen to that. But in unfunctional, and this is the most important point, in non-functional chord progression, you have to make sense out of it, not with the built-in functionality of a progression, but with voice leading and telling a narrative through the tension and built-in tension and resolution within each chord. So that's the biggest challenge. If I were to summarize this whole session with one sentence, it would be what I just said. So we have, I'll play the outer voices one more time so we can get used to it. Harmonized. It's not the most pleasant sounding, but made some sense out of, nonsense. So that's a good start. So yeah, that's motion. Adding motion in your voicing, voice leading is so important when you want to create a chord progression with a story that is coming from somewhere to somewhere else. A lot of times when I listen to some reharmonizations, that's missing because people focus so much on individual voicing and how extended and stacked each voicing are, but there's no connection between each voicings, so the narrative is lost.